All right guys, we're here in Seattle, Washington. Today we'll be doing a house hydrant V1 retrofit install on this remodel project. We're going to be using the existing mounting block, cedar shingle siding. There's copper plumbing on the inside, but we'll be adapting to PEX. Show you how it's done. Let's get to it. First we'll want to head down into the crawl space, find the shutoff valve for the house, turn the water off, head outside, drain the line. With the water shut off and drained, we'll want to unscrew the existing hose bib from the wall, then head downstairs and undo the plumbing. Alright, back in the crawl space now, checking out the plumbing setup. Looks like we've got 3/4 inch copper throughout with some more recent PEX additions. This is a daylight basement. Looks like there's SharkBite fittings already throughout the basement, so we're just going to keep things consistent. For the easiest install, we're just going to go with PEX for the last few feet here. Okay, with the old hose bib unscrewed from the wall, now we can undo the plumbing here and then pull it out from the outside. Looks like the old hose bib we pulled out was a 4-inch model, so we're going to replace it with an Aquor 4-inch hydrant. Keep in mind that industry-wide, the stem length isn't necessarily the total length, so the 4-inch Aquor is actually going to be about 5 3/4 end to end. So make sure you check out that sizing chart. Looks like the existing hole here was 1 inch for the brass hose bib. We're going to want to expand that out to 1.5 inches. Neat little trick here is we're going to take 1 inch dowel, put a pilot hole on it, and use this as a guide to stop our hole saw from jumping or skipping as we get it started. Back in the crawl space now. We're going to want to give ourselves a little bit extra room for the PEX connection, so we're going to cut the copper a little bit higher up. We're using a motorized cutter here, but any store-bought one or a hacksaw will work just fine. With the plumbing prepped, we'll want to go outside and test fit the hydrant to the wall. Make sure to put the debris cover behind the hydrant faceplate. This is going to give the hydrant the necessary downward grade for drainage and winterization. With the mounting holes lined up and the cover level, we're going to take our drill and pre-pilot the mounting holes. Then we're going to use some number 10 stainless steel screws to mount the hydrant. Mounting screws are included in the hydrant box, but if you need to use longer or shorter ones, use number 10 stainless steel screws. Looking good. All right, now it's time to make the plumbing connection. We're going to be using a 1/2 inch NPT plumbing fitting. In this case, because we're using PEX, we're going to use a Pro PEX expansion fitting. We'll wrap it with Teflon tape, making sure to go in the direction of the threading, and then we'll secure it to the hydrant. The existing copper line above is a 3/4 inch line, so we'll want to use a 3/4 to 1/2 inch coupler to step it down to our 1/2 inch PEX. For the PEX fittings, we'll start on the hydrant end. This way we'll know where the vertical plumbing line needs to meet up with it at the 90. We're using a Pro PEX expander tool, but you could use a SharkBite or any other plumbing fitting that you have on hand. And then with this small section of PEX installed, we can kind of eyeball where the vertical line is going to meet up with it, make the cut, and then add a fitting there. Typically, I'd want to minimize the amount of fittings that we're installing here and just put a PEX loop in. But since the homeowner is going to be remodeling this basement and putting drywall in, we want to really keep it tucked up against the wall. With this elbow fitting in place, now we can take a piece of PEX, attach it to the SharkBite above, see what length we need to cut it to. Coming down to about here, so we'll make the cut. Use our tool to expand the PEX and then make the connection. And that's pretty much it. With all the connections made, we'll wait a few minutes for these to shrink down and set. Then we'll turn the water on and check for leaks. While we're waiting, we'll run through the list of tools we use for this job. We've got our plumbing material, in this case PEX tubing, our plumbing fittings, in this case PEX expansion fittings, as well as a SharkBite. We're using a 1/2" NPT and a 90 elbow PEX to PEX. We got our PEX cutters, our copper cutters, our PEX expansion tool, Teflon tape, Phillips screwdriver, an 1.5" hole saw bit with our homemade dowel guide, and our Aquor House Hydrant and hose connector. All right, time to check our work. With the water turned back on, we'll want to wait a few minutes and then inspect all the fittings for any sign of leaks. Then go outside and test the hydrant operation. Water should turn on instantly, full flow, and then when you unplug it, it should shut off instantly and then self-drain within a few seconds. All right, looks like everything's working great. If you had any questions about the process, feel free to drop us a line, shoot us an email. We'd be happy to help.